The honorable, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to honor our country, please let us all rise for the listening of the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya and Mars Umrah. Please stand up. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning, the Honorable Director of Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji, Professor Dr. Agung Damar Shakti, SPI, DEA. The Honorable, the First, Second, and the Third Vice Rector of Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji. The Honorable, the Chairman of the International Conference Social Humanities in Maritime and Border Area 2023. The Honorable, the Speakers, the Honorables, the Dean of the Faculty Social and Political Science, the Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, the Faculty of Marine Science and Fisheries, the Faculty of Economy, Business and Maritime, the Honorable, the Director of Postgraduate, the Honorable, distinguished guest, and all the participants, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of the organizers, we would like to extend warm welcome and express our gratitude for your participation in the second International Conference Social Humanities in Maritime and Border Area 2023. I'm Yuliani Putri, acting as the Master of Ceremony of this event today. Ladies and gentlemen, this biannual event is proudly present by the Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji. The theme for the international conference this year is Strengthening Marine Border Governance in Southeast Asia, Regionalism and Locality. This conference provides a great opportunity for stakeholders with close interests and contributions to related issues. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin this event, let us pray together. The prayer will be led by Mr. Suryadi. Mr. Suryadi, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inshallah, the prayer will be guided by the Muslim ways, and the others religion, please you can to base on the way by your own religions. Al-Fatihah. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu alal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala sayyidina Ibrahim wa ala ali sayyidina Ibrahim fil alamina innaka hamidum majid. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inna kunna minaz zalimin. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah, ahadan somadan lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. La ilaha illallahul halimul karim. Subhanallahi rabbul arsil azim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Nas'aluka mujibati rahmatik wa adzaima maghfiratik wal ghanimata min kulli bir was salamata min kulli itsm. La tada' lana dhanban illa ghafartah wala hamman illa farraztah wala hajatan hiya laka ridhan illa qadaitaha ya Hannan ya Mannan ya Hayyu ya Qayyum ya Dzal Jalali wal Ikram ya Arhamar Rahimin. Allahumma ya Allah, segala puji hanya untuk-Mu ya Allah. Segala kemuliaan, keagungan adalah kepunyaan-Mu. Inilah kami hamba-hamba-Mu yang lemah, tidak ada daya dan kekuatan dalam diri kami melainkan dengan bantuan dan pertolongan-Mu. Ya Allah, bantulah kami untuk menjadi manusia-manusia yang terbaik dalam pandangan-Mu. Jadikanlah kami manusia-manusia yang senantiasa punya hubungan yang terbaik dengan-Mu. Jadikanlah kami menjadi hamba-hamba-Mu yang iman dan bertakwa dengan tuntunan yang mulia baginda Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma ya Allah, dengan pengharapan itu ya Allah, kami hari ini segenap sivitas akademika Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji menyelenggarakan satu event konferensi internasional tahunan yang hari ini adalah event tahun kedua. Ya Allah, jadikanlah ya Allah event konferensi internasional ini menjadi bagian daripada aktualisasi dari manusia yang terbaik dalam diri kami. Jadikanlah hajat pertemuan kami hari ini mampu menghimpun berbagai macam gagasan yang cerdas dan brilian, sehingga dengan gagasan-gagasan tersebut ya Allah, Engkau ridhoi menjadi inovasi yang akan bermanfaat untuk kehidupan umat di seluruh alam. Allahumma ya Allah, permudahlah segala runtutan acara dari awal sampai akhir pada konferensi internasional ini. Jadikanlah ya Allah semua orang yang terlibat dalam pelaksanaan acara kami hari ini menjadi manusia-manusia yang baik dalam pandangan-Mu. Allahumma ya Allah, inilah kami dengan segala kelemahan kami ya Allah, dengan segala kekurangan yang ada pada diri kami bermunajat kepadamu agar acara kami ini beroleh ridho dan bermanfaat untuk kami dan umat ya Allah. Allahumma ya Allah, ampunkanlah dosa-dosa kami, ampunkanlah juga dosa ayah ibu kami, ampunkanlah juga dosa guru-guru kami, para pemimpin kami, karib kerabat kami, dan umat seluruh alam. Ya Allah, wujudkanlah persatuan dan kesatuan dalam kehidupan kami, sehingga dengan wujudnya persatuan dan kesatuan itu akan mampu memberikan kemanfaatan bagi kemaslahatan umat. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Ya Allah, pada kesempatan hari ini kami berhimpun dengan satu niat yang baik. Luruskanlah hati-hati kami, perbaikilah niat-niat kami, sehingga dengan lurus dan baiknya niat kami itu Engkau berikan kepada kami kemudahan. Bantulah urusan-urusan kami ya Allah, selesaikanlah masalah-masalah kami, tunaikanlah hajat-hajat kami. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa amalan mutaqabbalan wa rizqan halalan thayyibah. Ya Allah, berikanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat, amal yang Engkau terima, dan berikanlah kepada kami rizki yang halal lagi baik. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin nabiyil ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Suryadi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this event beneficial for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the next agenda. It is welcoming speech by the chairman of the International Conference Social Humanities in Maritime and Border Area 2023, Mr. Nicodemus Nico Amsos. Mr. Nicodemus, please proceed to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, Rektor Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji, Vice Rector Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji, Dean Faculty of Social and Political Science, Dr. Oksep Adayanto, esteemed speakers, and distinguished participants. I stand before you with immense pleasure and gratitude as a chair of the organizing committee for this significant international conference. It is an honor to welcome each and every one of you to this intellectually stimulating and purposeful gathering. Our region, Southeast Asia, is distinguished by its extensive maritime borders, representing both a source of opportunity and a challenge. The theme of this conference, regionalism and locality, is carefully chosen to shed light on the complexities of governance in our maritime domain. It remains us that effective solution must integrate a regional perspective while respecting the unique local circumstances that shape each nation approach. The concept of regionalism emphasizes collaboration and cooperation among nations within Southeast Asia. In this spirit, we are honored to have the distinguished expert from Malaysia, Professor Madya Jalaluddin bin Abdul Malik, from Thailand, Onanong Tipimol PhD, from Indonesia, Dr. Dafri Agus Salim, from Indonesia, Professor Siti Zuhro, and from Norwegia, Ziaul Haku Munin PhD. whose wealth of experience and insight will undoubtedly enrich our discourse and guide us toward effective strategies. Throughout the course of this conference, we are presented with unique opportunity to engage in meaningful discussion, share insight, and collaboratively brainstorm practical solutions. Their expertise will guide us in formulating policies and framework that can make tangible difference in securing our maritime border, promoting regional stability, and enhancing sustainable development. I encourage all participants to actively engage, exchange knowledge, and foster a spirit of collaboration. Let us collectively work toward crafting policies and strategies that enhance maritime border governance, promote regional stability, and bolster sustainable development for the prosperity of our nation and the broader Southeast Asia region. Thank you for your attention, and I wish all of us fruitful and insightful deliberation during this conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, salam sejahtera. Om Santi Santi Om. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Mr. Nicodemus. Now is the welcoming speech by the Rector of Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji as the officially opening of this conference. Professor Dr. Agung Damar Shakti, please proceed to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. The Honorable Speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Jalaluddin bin Abdul Malik from Universitas Bangsa Malaysia, Professor Dr. Siti Juhro from BRIN or Research and Innovation National Agency, Dr. Onanong Tripimo from Thammasat University, Thailand, Swadika, Dr. Dafri Agus Salim from Gadjah Mada University, and Dr. Jatus Haq Mukmin from University of Southeastern Norway. All the Vice Rector, all the Dean, and all the participants. First of all, I would like to welcome you all in this university, Raja Ali Haji Maritime University, and welcome you all also in Kota Tanjung Pinang City, by firstly praying our grateful and praise to the Almighty God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for His blessing, grace, and also merciful that make us possible to come here together here in this excellent condition with the excellent health condition too. So this talking about the second social humanity in maritime and border area international conference, I really appreciate the faculty under the supervision of Dr. Oksep Adayanto, and I thanks to the organizing committee and all the team that organized this international conference, which has a specific theme, which is the strengthening maritime border governance in Southeast Asia, regionalism, and locality. This is a very important topic. For my opinion, I think there is three ways that we can conquering or occupying our maritime resources. The first approach, I think, is related with the historical strategy. If you have read some news during the last decade, we know, for instance, France is the kingdom of the ocean. Why? Because France has only 0.45% of the land territory comparing to the global scale, but they have 8% of the economic exclusive zone in the world. So France is the kingdom of the sea today. And the second approach also, the second example is China. China, using their approach, historical approach, they claim 9-dash line. So it's entering this is the core of the topic, which is the Southeast Asia region. The second approach, how to conquering or to occupying the maritime resources and border, is using the political and diplomacy approach. The good example of this is Okhotsk Sea in Russia. Russia has a sea. Russia has international water that enclaved by his economic exclusive zone. And what that is mean? It means all the country can access to this international water. This is famous with the name peanut hole. Yeah, this peanut hole is the problem for the Russia. Why? Because all country can go through and exploit the natural resources, which is the fish, stock, and also crab, etc., etc. So Russia, using his power in diplomacy and also political power to gain, and finally in 2014, I think they are recognized as the country that can handle this international water. So now the peanut hull is belonging to the Russia territory. And the third way, I think that what we do today is using scientific and academical approach. So when we talk about scientific and academic approach, it means we have to come here and discussing and showing our data, information, etc. The people say if you have no data, you don't have the management. If you have least data, you get the poor management. If you have a big data, you will get the predicted management. So this important thing for us regarding to the maritime border, we have to collect all the data and the information so we can manage with a good manner, with the wise way, because there is several countries in Southeast Asia region. So I hope in this conference there is so many ideas across ideas that can be discussed, and finally not only getting the output such as the dissemination of the international scientific communication in form of the publication, but also some strategical recommendation how we manage our region or sub-regional in Southeast Asia. I think this is very important international conference, yeah. And this conference also, of course, is in line with our vision and mission. UMRA has a vision to become the center of excellence in the higher education, research, marine sociopreneurship, and maritime civic in Southeast Asia country. So this is very in line with our program. And we have 8 strategic program, which is called Gurindam, which is the acronym of the Good University Governance, University Ranking Achievement, etc., etc. And this conference is very, very in line with the at least 6 from 8-hour strategic program. So that's I really appreciate this conference and mega bravo for FISIP. Please give big applause for FISIP. Well, I don't want to to be the speaker here, yeah. Just without further ado, I will like just to officially by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I open this the second international conference 2023, Social Humanity in Maritime and Border Area International Conference with the theme Strengthening Maritime Border Governance in Southeast Asia, Regionalism and Locality is officially open. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. Enjoy the conference and getting the fruitful discussion. And I have to leave from this conference after just this my welcoming speech because I have another agenda. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Agung Damarashakti, for opening this conference. Now, the second International Conference Social Humanities in Maritime and Border Area is officially open. Now, handing over the plugs and the certificate for all of the speakers, kindly invited the rector and also for all of the speakers, Professor Dr. Jalaluddin bin Abdul Malik, Onanong Tipimol PhD, and Dr. Gifari Agus Salim to the stage. And also please the Vice Rector, the Dean of the is accompanied by the Dean of the Social and Political Science. The Dean of the Faculty of the Social and Political Science, please come to the stage. Okay, for the documentation, we are going to have a photo session. So kindly invited the rector, the first, second, and the third vice rector, and also the dean of the Faculty Social and Political Science to do photo stations. Thank you for the director and also for the first and second and also for the speaker and the Dean of the Faculty of Social and Political Science. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep on to the next agenda, core seminar. The core seminar will consist of 2 sessions, online and offline. The core seminar will have 5 speakers and will be led by a moderator. Kindly invited Mrs. Tika Ismail as moderator.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our second Shimba International Conference 2023. And to begin our discussion and forum for today, of course, we need our speakers, right? Okay. Just relax, okay? Don't be too nervous and just enjoy the conference. We invite all the speakers. We have 5 speakers for today. 3, the speakers will be join us in stage, and the rest of 2 will be joining us via online. Now I would like to invite Professor Madya Dr. Jalaluddin bin Abdul Malik from the University Kebangsaan Malaysia. The next one I would like to invite Onanong Tipinong, PhD from the Thammasat University, Thailand. For the offline, last but not least, I would like to invite Dr. Dafri Agus Salim from Gajah Mada University, Indonesia. Oh, you want to do online from there? That's okay. Okay. Let's not make the online speakers getting jealous. Okay, I would like to invite to joining us to this conference from this one is Professor Dr. Siti Zuhro, MA, from Indonesia. Okay, the sound please. Hello, Ms. Zuhro, you can hear our voice? Okay, let's continue later. And next, we invite Mr. Ziaul Hakum Munim, PhD, from the University of Southeastern Norway. Okay. Before I begin the discussion, I would like to introduce. We also want you to know about the background of our speakers. But first of all, I would like to introduce myself first, of course, as the moderator today. My name is Tika Ismail, and I'm coming from Tanjung Pinang. And it's an honor for me to be in this forum and participate in this international conference. Thank you very much. And can you please give a round of applause to this Umrah Maritime Raja Ali Haji University for held this amazing event. Thank you very much. And our topic today is strengthening maritime border governance in Southeast Asia, regionalism and locality. And as I promised, I would like to, actually this committee is giving me a lot of homework to read all of your backgrounds, but I cannot read it. I cannot deliver all, right? But I believe all these participants that coming today already research for all your backgrounds. So I will just read some. First, Mr. Ziaul Haq Munim, PhD, Maritime Economic Shipping and Logistics Supply Chain Management Machine Learning Research Methods. His current position as Associate Professor of Maritime Logistics Faculty of Technology, Natural and Maritime Science in University of Southern Eastern Norway from April 2019 until present, and as founder and CEO, Research Hub as from September 2015 until present. And the education, 2015 until 2018, Doctors of Philosophy in International Management, PhD, concentration in Maritime Logistics, School of Business and Law, University of Agder, Kristiansand, Norway, with the thesis, essays on competitive port efficiency, governance, and intermodal transshipment. 2013 to 2015, Master of Science in Supply Chain Management, with honors, Visualization and Transport Geography Modeling, Transport of Logistics, WU Vienna University of Economics and Business, Vienna, Austria, with thesis analysis of container shipping industry and forecasting freight rates for FEUI route. Okay, and etc. And for the research grant funding project, I just like to let you know the most my favorite one, okay? It's not selfish, right, mister? Okay, I master from September 2022 until August 2026. Total budget NOK 34 million, 100 funded by European Commission. Partners include UIT, UGOT, WU, VTI, USN, Fraunhofer, EMA, and TERT. And also, he's still very active in journal editorial, and one of my most and very I have to vote this one, editorial board member, Maritime Economics and Logistics from January 2023 till present, Palgrave Macmillan. You can search it online and read later. From the offline speakers, now, Mr. Dr. Jafri Agus Salim, MA. I believe he coming from Jogja, right? because I stay in Jogja. Mr. Dr. Dapri Agus Salim. Now, as the Executive Director of Asian Studies Center, University Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, and as Senior Lecturer at the Department of International Relations, Faculty of Social and Political Science, Gadjah Mada University, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Education background: Doctor in Human Rights and Indonesia Foreign Policy, Gadjah Mada University. In 2015, MA in Political Science, the Australian National University, Canberra, Australia, in 1995. Non-degree, you take short course in Asian Studies, the Ohio State University, USA, in 1991. And BA in International Relations, Gadjah Mada University, Indonesia, 1986. I wasn't born yet. The grants and fellowships. Okay. Read the newest one. The German Academic Exchange Service, DAAD, Freiburg University, Germany, 2011. And Endeavour Executive Awards, ANU, Australia, July, September 2010. All right. But first of all, can you give a round of applause for previously privileged speakers and our Dr. Dapri? All right. Dr. Dapri also done a lot of the research project in this last 5 years, such as in 2020, the role of Australia education diplomacy in maintaining and strengthening Australia-Indonesia relation, Faculty of Social and Political Science, Gadjah Mada University, 2021, Human Rights in the Pandemic Era, Assessing and Measuring the Level of Respect, Protection, Fulfillment, and Promotion of Civil and Political Rights in Indonesia amid pandemic COVID-19. Is it when pandemic? Oh, correctly. And the newest one is 2022, Towards Asian Chairmanship 2023, Indonesia's Challenges and Opportunities in Maintaining and Enhancing Cohesiveness and Solidarity among Asian member countries, Faculty of Social and Political Science, Gadjah Mada University. And for the publications, I already remarked this one, so I read this. Mr. Dapri Agus Salim et al. Book chapter, Localizing the Sustainable Development Goals, Assessing Indonesia's Compliance Towards the Global Goals in Ronald Holtzacker and Dapri Agus Salim as editors, Sustainable Development Goals in Southeast Asia and Asian Braille, Groningen, Netherlands, 2018. Please give applause for Ms. Dapri. Mr. Dapri Agus Salim. Oh, as Miss Professor Dr. Onanong Tipimo, now not here, so I would like to introduce all of you, one of the beautiful ladies, but in online. Oh, you are coming, okay. Let's get closer with our next speakers. Professor Dr. Raden Siti Zuhro MA. She's in online. Hello, Miss Professor Dr. Raden Siti Zuhro MA. Can you hear our voice? Okay. She's the main researchers in the Indonesian Institute of Science, and the background. She's still working as a researcher at the National Research and Research Organization from 2021 until now. If you're looking for the National Research and Organization, that's BRIN or BRIN. We go to the ladies. Assist Professor Dr. Onanong Tipimo. Sawadee ka. Assist Professor Dr. Onanong Tipimo. From the University of Queensland, Australia in 2016 with the program Doctor of Philosophy History. Yeah. Master of Art History in Thammasat University, Thailand in 23, and got certificate for Indonesian language at University of Indonesia in 2001. That means you can speak Indonesia, bahasa as well. Can you take the microphone, please? Say hi in bahasa Indonesia.
Ya, selamat pagi saudara-saudari semuanya. Kalau boleh
Wah.
mungkin hari ini saya bisa sampaikan dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Wah. Kapun kap makmang. Bachelor of Arts from Thammasat, Thailand in 1999, and Art History in 1999. And Professor Dr. Onanong Tipimo, still working as a lecturer in Thammasat University from 2007 until now, and her main duties as in Southeast Asian Studies, Introduction to History, General Education, and Indonesian Language. Okay. For the publication, also I would like to let you know about the newest one. In 2022, the Timor-Leste History, Nation Building and Relationship with Thailand in Pailin, Kitty Serachai, 2 Decades of Friendship, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Bangkok International Studies Center, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And the next one, Indonesian political parties from the struggle for independence to the development of democracy under constitutional reform in Wutisan Tancai, Sirapan Jaiman, and Satitong Tananan Nitichot. Correct? Political party politics, various perspectives from many countries. Bangkok King Prajadipok Institute, page 103 until 139. Okay, and the rest I would like to introduce before they represent the material of the presentation. Toward a world maritime access country will include the development of maritime processes from the aspect of infrastructure, politics, socioculture, law, security, and economy. But in fact, we still found and facing a big challenge and gaps to reach our dream in Southeast Asia to unite into an entity. And if we're talking about strengthening maritime border governance in Southeast Asia, globally, our main issues is security issue. But we would like to know and listen from our speakers. With that, I would like to invite first speakers to represent the material from Professor Madya Dr. Jalaluddin bin Abdul Malik from Kebangsaan Malaysia University.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Sawadikap. Kalau perempuan sawadikap. Kalau lelaki sawadikap itu saja ya. My expectation to Miss Chairman, still Miss ya, Miss Chairman ya. And thank you very much to invite as a key speakers to Umrah, especially for our rector, Professor Dr. Agung, and our Dean, Dr. Okip, my friends, 3 panelists now and 2 panelists from the cyber space, Dr. Onam, Dr. Nanung, Dr. Dafri, and Professor Medal Associate Professor Zai ul Haq from the Southeastern Norway University, Professor Dr. Siti Zuhro from the Research Center of Political and Inovasi Nasional, Indonesia. So I try my best to discuss with you with the dua bahasa in English and bahasa Nusantara lah. Okay, I'm not a politician, but my research is not about the regional politics now. I'm focused look about the urban and regional planning. But when we talk the urban and regional planning, so back to the word regional, so this focus example of a maritime study like the Southeast Asia. For example, most of the country from the Thailand, Malaysia and Indonesia, we have the corridor economy from the Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore and Thailand. It's a very good concept of economy to generate high income for our rakyat or citizen, because Asian country, the very important area in the world, generate potential income for the the percentage dual income generation. The topic today, I want to talk about the smart region from borderless society perspective. Sometimes when we talk about the smart regions development, for example, we develop the corridor like Johor, Riau, and Singapore, Sijori. We are talk about the macro economy. We are not focused of the what happened the borderless society. The borderless society is very important, because they are very slow move generation to have what we call the neighboring and the families contact when they are developed after impact from the Sijori corridor. For example, please look the Iskandar report card. Okay, you look that from the economics, investment and environment. This is a macro economy. What happened at the Iskandar development in the Johor, impact from the Sijori corridor economy. For example, for the economic macro, there are more generate income to the Iskandar area. I don't have the data or information from the Riau region and then Singapore, but this is what we call very important corridor in ASEAN country to generate the high income for our citizens. For example, increase in the GDP, and then how about the investment from the China, Singapore itself, USA, Japan, Netherlands, and also etc. So, in conclusion, in the macro economy, we have the Sijori, Singapore, Johor, and Riau. They increase for the very good macro economy for Iskandar area. I hope so in Riau, and then such as Singapore. Singapore is a very developed country. They are very good impact when the Sijori move as a corridor economy. Next, but you can look for the in social and connected contact. This is what we call the very positive Sijori. For example, we are increase how to connectivity, communication with our citizen for face-to-face connection and communication, value added to the use the cyber connection for other countries. So, for example, now any management or research from other university to university, we can discuss in the cyberspace, with the WhatsApp, with the video conference, with the WebEx, such as. So, next, the issue of the my paper, when we look the macro economy, that is very good generate from the Sijori impact. But what the question? What happened the borderless society? Because before the Sijori introduced our ASEAN country, Singapore, Johor, and Riau corridor economy, our culture and our backside for the historical and traditional merging still on there. So their economy, what happened for that borderless society? For example, in socio-economy perspective, socio-technology and socio-environment, when we look at perception from the borderless society. For example, demand of political stability and regional ties. What happened? Now we have the problem in the borders political. What impact the borderless society, and governance and challenge for business. How they are looking for that impact of the security for us activity. Yeah? For example, in the business, in the small scale business. For example, we are looked at change of the labor from the other country, from the Indonesia to Malaysia, Singapore. In example, in the plantation area, maybe at the manufacturing area, and also some service they are offered to borderless society. And how their contribution in new business, like use the ICT, entrepreneurship, and also how they are looking the new generation of business, for example, in e-hailing, a Grab business in the borders areas. So beside the 4 issues, Sijori, I looked at Sijori, they can look for the develop P economy to E economy. Production economy to E economy. Next. So when I'm looking for that, why please go on to the next slide.
Please. Hello. Yeah, the operator. This
Okay.
slide. Yeah.
Before that. Okay.
Okay.
So, what the understanding of the smart regions in the Sijori context? In 1995, we are talk about the intelligent city. We look that this is a very benefit for our ASEAN country. An example, we are implement in Indonesia and Malaysia like smart city from the big city from like the Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, Surabaya, and then also Jogja, all those things. They are implement the smart city. But why not in the region area of Sijori? We are welcome to the smart regions development to upgrade impact of the Sijori. So I introduced the theory of the girls, like the smart regions. We are imply at the Sijori area back to our culture and our abilities. So that called good enough smart regions development. Because back to the good enough smart regions development, we are very deeply to study what happened the impact of security to structures, process, and the culture of the borderless society. For example, I focus for the socio-economic impact, socio-technology impact, and socio-cultural impact. And this is my methodology of the research. I think I can't discuss because we cannot have the time to discuss for the thing. And then you look for my slide. For what the result after we look the government in good enough smart region development insignificant between Sijori development and for the borderless society in the socio-economic, socio-culture and socio-technical impact, especially in citizen for citizen borderless society, Malaysia, Indonesia and Singapore. Okay, look for the table next. So in tourism industry, for small tourism, we look that just is very impact to the borderless society. Orang Karimun pergi ke Malaysia, orang Malaysia pergi ke Karimun, orang Singapura pergi ke itu dan sebagainya. Kebanyakannya masyarakat di sini mengakui dapat menghidupkan bisnes kecil-kecilan berasaskan tourism. Orang Indonesia jual kerepek, orang Malaysia jual yalah apa-apa sajalah. Kemudian job opportunities increase. This is very important. Job opportunity increase. Siapa mahu bagi pekerjaan? Ada yang ada kelulusan, ada yang tidak kelulusan. Kalau ada degree-nya itu mungkin dia bekerja di pabrik dan sebagainya kan. Tapi yang tidak ada kelulusan itu siapa yang mahu beri pekerjaan? Tapi dengan adanya good enough smart region ini, secara tidak langsung mereka ini mendapat peluang-peluang pekerjaan seperti penghematan mengangkut barang dan sebagainya. Dan also mereka mengatakan bahawa dapat meningkatkan taraf hidup di semua negara itu. Ini sangat penting. Sebab jarang orang fokus borderless society kan. Tapi dengan adanya Sijori itu dapat meningkatkan taraf hidup pendapatannya sejak 10 tahun yang lalu. Sebab kajian ini dah 10 tahun Sijori lakukan. Okay. In socio-cultural context, next, they be able to speak multiple language. Some Indonesia can speak English, Singapore can speak Indonesia, Thailand can speak Indonesia also. Walaupun satu patah dua perkataan, and then mereka itu ada yang mengusahakan chalet ataupun the small perkhidmatan penginapan dan sebagainya, perlukan berbahasa Inggeris dan sebagainya. That is multiple language dia mereka boleh bercakap. Ada yang boleh bercakap Jerman, boleh bercakap bahasa-bahasa yang lain. Ya? Kerap dapat berhubung secara cyber dengan keluarga mereka. Walaupun mereka tinggal di Johor, tapi dapat berhubung dengan keluarga mereka di Karimun, rakan-rakan mereka di Singapura dan sebagainya. Satu cerita yang tidak elok, bagaimana orang Johor dia menggunakan drone menyeludup dadah ke Singapura. Dia guna drone saja. Mungkin 2-3 kali lepaslah, lepas tu dapat ditangkap. Tapi itu cerita yang tidak baiklah, penggunaan teknologi. Okay, accept and learn to practice for the good way of life. Bila dah bertukar budaya itu, budaya makan ini pun berubah. Kalau di Johor tu boleh makan soto sekarang, boleh makan mi ayam, yeah. So this is impact of the Sijori. Orang Singapura nak murah makan di Indonesia, makan di Malaysia dan sebagainya. Pasar tani di Johor itu Pak, kalau mau beli saya takut sekali. Kerana apa? Orang Singapura datang lagi beli dia mahal berbanding dengan kita. Kerana kemampuan pembeliannya itu. Jadi orang lokal tak dapat barang daripada pasar tani itu sendiri. And respecting others of our culture, heritage and also that. Okay, go on to the impact of socio-technology. certified with internet access in the work, business and travel areas. For example, we can in Umrah, I can speak my family, my children, not problem in the communication. So get exposed to new technology at work, business and travel. Confident in the security and transaction online transaction between countries. This is a study I doing with my master student. The use of technology in life is increasing more than ever before. Yes. Orang yang tidak sekolah rendah ataupun sekolah menengah atas saja boleh menggunakan teknologi yang begitu canggih sebab dia very friendly technology for humans. And technology can bring closer family and community relationship. Because tadi boleh berhubung antara satu sama lain dan perhubungan saya dengan umrah pun semakin rapat kerana boleh melihat menggunakan media-media ICT dan sebagainya. So discussion, please. So in Sijori, when we look the macroeconomy, we don't forget for the microeconomy because the overall study found that significant different in the socio-economy, social culture and social technological impact for no different impact from the Malaysia, Indonesia and Singapore for the border society. And GDP of Johor, Singapore and Riau, you know what happened in Batang, very increased. And then in the under the good enough smart region development socio-economic change with the Sijori, I talk about the three table today. This is what we conclusion. So in conclusion, the three nations of Malaysia and Singapore and Indonesia, these are comprising the Sijori smart region, have experienced what impact the socio-economic and socio-cultural for the particular within their border communities. Despite the historical classification as marginal communities, border communities can involve in highly developed society. Ini peluang-peluang yang ada sepatutnya diambil kira oleh border society. Dan mungkin kita boleh buat kajian bersama. And then the regional cooperation development of model Sijori is further reinforced by the government in smart region development concept, which emphasize the microeconomy and the advance of border community. Sekian wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for Professor Madya Dr. Jalaluddin Abdul Malik from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. You also have been adjunct professor at University Sriwijaya Palembang, Indonesia. Is that correct? All right. And from your career history, and then from the academic qualification, as a PhD Intelligent City Planning in University Malaysia, MSc Planning Rural Planning, University Sains Malaysia, and Bachelor in Urban and Regional Planning, Hons University Technology, Malaysia. So, yeah. So for all the speakers have a opportunity to present 15 minutes. We go to the next speakers. We would like to invite Professor Dr. Raden Siti Zuhro MA, Senior Researcher at National Research and Innovation Agency or BRIN, to present Decentralization and Local Governance in Indonesia Border Region. Please, Madam.
Yeah, thank you, moderator. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. Thank you for inviting me to be part of Shimba 2023. Thank you, Umrah. That's great campus, I think. I respect the Umrah Rector, Pak Rektor, Profesor hang on. Pak Rektor and Vice Rector, and also Dean of FISIP, ya, Pak Dekan FISIP, Umrah. Yeah, I think before I present my paper, I will present my pantun first. Tanam jagung di pekarangan, pohon srikaya buahnya jarang. Assalamualaikum, Tuan dan Puan, salam sejahtera kami ucapkan. Naik kereta ke Padang Sidempuan. Banyak markisa dijual orang. Sebagai tetangga Laut ASEAN, mari bersama eratkan persahabatan. And the last pantun, terbang tinggi burung merpati, menembus awan beramai-ramai. Satukan hati, perkuat sinergi, laut aman, hidup pun damai. Okay, give applause. Thank you. I try to, make pantun. Even this is my new experience to write pantun. Actually, first of all, this morning I will present a topic on decentralization and local governance in Indonesia border regions. Different from other topics. This topic will focus on border regional governments in managing development and the role of the national government in managing this development. Jadi ada dua yang berperan, not only local region or regional government, but also the central government. This will be very interesting, I think, because I will look at it from the perspective of decentralization and regional autonomy or regional autonomy. The independence of border areas is very important, especially since this area have different borders with other regions of the country, like Rio Island, as Professor Jalaluddin said. I think like Rio Island borders directly with neighboring Singapore. So posisi peran penting dari daerah-daerah di perbatasan ini tentunya sangat kita garis bawahi. Oleh karena itu, this is very important. Okay, allow me to share my presentation. Okay. Decentralization and local government in Indonesia, in Indonesia border regions. Yeah. First, as an introduction, actually, I would like to say that Indonesia has implemented regional autonomy since the fall of the New Order 1998. The change from centralized to decentralized government in Indonesia was marked by the implementation of decentralization since 2001. So started in 2001. Regional autonomy and also decentralization have moved the locals from the center to the regions. With decentralization, it is hoped actually it is hoped that there will be significant changes experienced by the community, the local society, where the community can be served with excellent quality both in the fields of education, health, and licensing. Regional autonomy or decentralization aims at improving the pattern of central regional relations so that they are harmonious. The implementation of development in border areas encourages to advance local community at the border. And also problems arise, especially when matters that fall under regional autonomy are limited. Meanwhile, the problems faced by border areas are not simple, very complex. Social conditions of society show that poverty and backwardness are still crucial issues. Now we look at border area management, how it looks like. The main objective of border management are to maintain Indonesia's sovereignty and integration as mandated by the Constitution. Develop border areas in a balanced, integrated, and comprehensive manner for the welfare of the people, and also strengthening Indonesia's capacity in border areas in the context of global competition. Central government created a grand design for border area management to accelerate development and participate in determining development in border areas, which is carried out through BNPP. BNPP stands for National Border Management Agency, coordination involving related ministries and institutions. So, usually we so-called as a kementerian dan lembaga terkait. Regional findings in North Kalimantan, Riau Islands, and East Nusa Tenggara on NTT show that funding problems and development bureaucracy are very crucial obstacles or challenges apart from human resources. Empirical findings also show that the three border regions do not have autonomy in carrying out regional government affairs, so they tend to depend on, quote-unquote, instruction from the central government. Law 43/2008, for instance, concerning state territory, gives the central government great authority to manage border areas. The problem is, with direct control held by the central government, this does not make development in border areas successful. That's the crucial problem. Now we look at how about the authority and commitment of the central government in management of border areas. Management of areas in Indonesia that directly border other countries is an important matter that needs to be taken seriously, sangat serius, by the Indonesian government. With the grand design, border area development is expected to be able to accelerate development in various fields. Dominant government control causes ineffective coordination and synergy between levels of government. So we found that, relationship between the central government, regional or provinces, and kabupaten, kota is not that really so-called very harmonious. Regions really need a vast, agile, innovative, and solution to respond and overcome the complexity of existing problems. BNPP, as I mentioned before, BNPP is National Border Management Agency, represent the central government, BNPP. BNPP is expected to be able to help fixing the problems faced by border areas. And BNPP's function as a liaison between Kementerian and Lembaga and the provincial government is not strong enough. The NPP does not have sufficient authority to encourage and support development of border areas. Border regions do not have sufficient authority to carry out or execute matters that should fall under their authority. This is also the problem. Next is research finding, and how about the regional autonomy and bureaucratic reform. Research in Rio Island, North Kalimantan, and East Nusa Tenggara during February until July 2023, this year, so that border regional government or local stakeholders basically wanted some significant improvement to the border area management system so that development was more effective and could advance the regions. Regional government in border areas needs to be pursued by improving bureaucracy as a wheel of development. In the current era, regional government are required to be able to respond digital needs to improve bureaucracy so that digitalization of public governance, so-called digitalisasi birokrasi al-governancy, is built in Indonesia, from Sabang until Merauke. Regional government law and regional boundary law. So we try to look at how about these two laws. To implement democracy and good governance requires a strong foundation of legal supremacy and or law enforcement. Border regions need to reorganize their institution. So this is domestic. This is domestic affairs, for regional government. Building clean, effective, and trustworthy governance. Accelerate the implementation of community welfare by improving basic public services. The law on regional government, number 23, 2014, basically provides a strong basic legal for regions to accelerate development that can improve the people welfare. Law number 43 of 2008 focuses more on protecting the state territory. And this law contains several important articles regarding the unitary state of the Republic of Indonesia as an archipelago characterized, negara kepulauan, negara with uniqueness, so-called archipelago. The regulation of state territorial boundaries is intended to provide legal certainty regarding state territory, authority to manage state territory, and sovereignty rights. It also viewed that border regions are strategic for maintaining the territorial integrity of the country. However, due to the location and position of the border areas directly borders another country, this is why regional government in border areas should have a different regulation to protect their authorities. And the importance of harmonization of law number 43, 2008, and law number 23 of 2014. Legislation must be a unified whole as a reference for border area stakeholders. This means that the law provides legal certainty and guarantee that existing regulation do not conflict with each other and negate each other and do not legally cancel each other. That's why we do need harmonization of legislation is a necessary thing which is expected to provide clarity and certainty for border regions to carry out their duties. Next is a table of alignment of the two laws we discussed earlier. So when these two laws are harmonized, I think border areas are a joint responsibility in management between the center and the region, except for foreign policy, defense, security, justice, national monetary and fiscal, and also religion that belong to the central government. Border area consists of two field: land border area and maritime border areas. The responsibility for border management, which is the authority of the central government for ESDM, maritime affairs and forest is managed jointly between the center and the regions based on the character of the border areas, sea and land. Alignment of national and border area development programs in the form of a master plan or grand design for border areas jointly prepared by the center and the regions.
Excuse me, Madam.
Yeah.
The Honorable Professor Dr. Sidizuru, MA, can you just give our short conclusion because your duration is finished for now?
Okay. Can I have another 1 minute, please?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. So we can see from this, challenges of development border areas is the challenges of developing border areas consists of implementing how to implement development, also distribution of population, and national resilience and public services. Another challenges is also bureaucracy. Various development problems, I think really are also hampered by bureaucratic matters. So how to do reform, bureaucratic reform, local bureaucratic reform. Also talk over authority and harmonize the relationship between level of the government. Improvement of border area management, I think this is quite important also, how to improve border area management, and this is our proposal actually in my research, how to introduce new like regulation for border areas, for the regional in border areas, so that they can manage local development and how to empower people, local people, very, very effectively and properly. And this is also what I want to say is the importance of decentralization and autonomy daerah for border areas. This is quite like proposal to make this regional government in border areas much better in doing development. Also the importance of central regional togetherness and harmony. This is, I think, is very crucial also and very sensitive sometimes. The importance of synergy and cooperation between the central government and border regional government, and also need new regulation. This is what our proposal actually, to make some improvement for the local regional for local government. And as a conclusion, this is the last one, is, I'm quite concerned about how the local people living on the border areas is lack of prosperity, how to improve, how to menghadirkan, not only harmony but kesejahteraan. That's quite important through pendidikan dan pelayanan publik yang bagus, yang berkualitas. And also we do need a paradigm shift. A commitment is needed, I think, to change the border development paradigm by changing the direction of development policy from inward-looking to outward-looking, and also how about the role of PNPP. I think maybe if PNPP is not that effective, or maybe cannot help much regional government in border areas, I think maybe we do need a new formula to push development in border areas. Bureaucratic reform, I think this is a must, I think, bureaucratic reform. I think as a conclusion, and finally, I would like to close my presentation with pantun, Dua sejoli bermadu kasih, merajut hati sehidup semati. Sampai di sini terima kasih. Selanjutnya mari berdiskusi. Pulau Jawa, Pulau Kalimantan, banyak orang berimigrasi. Kalau ada waktu dan kesempatan boleh kita berdiskusi lagi. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. Unfortunately, we have a limited time to listen for all of your papers. But please, one more time, give a round of applause to Professor Dr. Siti Zuru, MA. And I proudly announce that she have been achieved for a reward from the President of the Republic of Indonesia, have been rewarded twice. Get the Satya Lencana Karya Satya at 1999 and 2009. Now we go to the next speakers. We would like to hear what I mentioned in my opening statement about the main issues in maritime borders is security. From Assistant Professor Onanong Tipinol, PhD, Thammasat University, Thailand, with Thailand Maritime Security Policies.
Oke, selamat pagi sekali lagi. Kepada rekan visip Umlah, Dr. Oksep, dan para pembicara-pembicara di sini, Ibu Moderator, dan saudara-saudari semuanya. My name is Onanong Tipimon, a lecturer from Thammasat University in Thailand. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Faculty of Social and Political Science, Raja Ali Haji Maritime University, the host of this conference, for inviting me and facilitating everything, especially Mas Nico, the most Nico, and Anissa Valentina. I'm really honored to be a part of the conference. Okay, actually I'm not an expert on maritime studies. Actually I'm Indonesian studies, but today I will share what I just did a little bit research on Thailand. Okay, today, next slide please. Oh, could you please show my slide? Okay, today I'm going to talk about Thailand's maritime security policies. Next please. The outline of my talk today consists of 5 points. The first one is the importance of maritime security policy of Thailand. Second, security situation in Thailand's maritime areas. And Thailand maritime security policy in the past. Fourth, marine security plan during 2023 to 2027. And conclusion. Next, please. Thailand is one of the countries in Southeast Asia which has very rich natural resources such as coastal tourism, fishery, aquaculture, offshore oil and gas petroleum, and commercial marine trading are essential drivers of Thailand's developing economy. Next, please. This figure shows maritime zone according to the 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. You can see, and this make maybe some dispute between or among countries in Southeast Asia too. Next, please. This map shows maritime boundary in Southeast Asia region on the whole. And next. Okay, this shows maritime boundary between India, Indonesia, and Thailand. Next. Okay. Okay. Thailand is an important maritime nation. Thailand is the central for connecting transportation and logistic routes. Its long coastline look out toward both the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Thailand has maritime area around 322,000 square kilometers. It has coastline length of 3,010 kilometers, including an area on the Gulf of Thailand of around 2,000, if easy to remember. And the Andaman side, around 1,000 kilometers. Sea of Thailand can be divided into 5 types. 1, internal waters. 2, territorial sea. 3, contiguous zone. 4, continental shelf zone. And 5, exclusive economic zone. Thailand has recognized the importance of national marine interests and security for a long time. For an external security standpoint, Thailand had few state threats compared with neighbor countries. Since the Cold War ended, Thailand was able to reach accommodation with its neighbors. And with exception of the 1987 and 2011 landside border clashes with Laos and Cambodia, recent history has been free from interstate conflict. Thailand does not join the territorial and jurisdictional claims in the South China Sea. Thailand has also avoided direct confrontation with the People's Republic of China. Next, please. This figure shows the country with claims in the South China Sea: China, Taiwan, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei, except Thailand and Indonesia. Next, please. Security situation and issue in Thailand's maritime area are divided into 3 groups. The first one is government management problems, and second, problems related to national resources and the environment, and third, transnational threats and crimes. The first one is the problem of state management of Thailand government. The management is a bit complicated and lack of efficiency due to lack of an integration among various agencies with responsibility of Thailand marine areas and lack of budget. Some laws are outdated and complex, etc. Therefore, national policy making in the past had not given importance to the sea as it should be. As a result, there is a lack of construction of maritime critical infrastructure and key resources, especially such as ports or industry related to the sea. Second, problem related to national resources and environment. Lack of efficiency in government maritime management along with the use of natural resources from the sea without responsibility and control. As a result, the maritime environment has been widely affected, such as marine pollution, illegal fishing, buildings that do not consider the impact on the environment, and lack of control over private sector activities, etc. Environmental damage that cause degradation of marine resources, affect to social conflict, both conflict between private business and local communities, and also conflict among fishing operators. This may lead to international conflict due to fishing in the future as well. And third, The problem is transnational threats and crimes. Due to the sea is a place that is open along with a lack of efficiency in controlling leads to there are many illegal activities around sea areas, such as illegal transport, illegal trafficking, terrorism, piracy, drugs, human trafficking, smuggled goods, illegal immigration, and so on. Next. For what I already mentioned, it can be seen that Thailand is located in the area of maritime transportation routes, which is very important. The fact that Thailand had a wide sea border is close to important maritime transportation routes makes Thailand is a sensitive country that will face threats at sea in the future. Therefore, Thailand needs to establish clear policy and management guidelines regarding maritime security, including the need for integration between relevant agencies in order to effectively manage maritime security. The government has seen the importance of stability and maintenance of maritime interests. Therefore, it has been determined as government policy to maintain state security and foreign affairs by giving importance to preparing for the ASEAN political and security community in 5 areas. Not yet, still in the previous, okay. One is border management. Second, building maritime security. 3, solving transnational crime problems. 4th, building trust with neighboring country. And 5, strengthening ASEAN capacity for joint military operations. By emphasizing operations to prevent, resolve various disputes, and resolve boundary problems, using common mechanisms and youth dialogue both at the bilateral and multilateral levels, including organizing development according to the ASEAN Economic Community Framework and managing border areas, both land and sea, to support the development of special economic zones along the border, using a monitoring system with modern technology in order to addressing problems of drugs, armed trafficking, human trafficking, piracy, international terrorism, and transnational crimes. Is it an immediate problem that must be prevented and solved by strict law enforcement and comprehensive deal with other related problems, such as problem of status and rights of individuals, improving the immigration system, and organizing foreign workers, etc. This is, next please. This is, next, thank you.
Next page.
Yeah, already. The National Maritime Security Plan during 2015 to 2021, but I think we can pass it very quickly because it doesn't work. So, pemerintah Thailand pernah merencanakan mau bikin ini, tapi ternyata tidak begitu sukses. Ya, maybe we can pass due to limitation of time. But if you're interested, maybe you can read later. Move to, next. Because at first I thought I have 20 minutes, but actually I have only 15. Move to maritime security plan during, move, next please.
Next page.
Yeah, please. This is mantan wakil PM, sekarang sudah tidak ada lagi, tapi plan yang dia direncanakan akan diterapkan dari tahun 2023 sampai 2027 ya. Okay, next. Next please. Next please. Sorry. For next 5 years, Thailand government set 7 guidelines for action. First, development of political potential and maritime security. focusing on the importance of strengthening and maintain the stability of the country in maritime security dimension, solving conflict, surveillance, follow-up, and situation evaluation, as well as develop cooperation and enhance relations between countries. Second, previous slide, prevention and suppression maritime crime. Give importance to monitoring and follow up and assess the security situation and maritime crime to prevent and suppress marine threats in various forms, which affect the rights, lives, and assets of population. And third, preserving and making use of marine natural resources and environment. Focus on the importance of protection, treatment, and restore marine resources and environments in a balanced and sustainable manner. Every sector shares benefit for marine resources, reduce negative effect to marine environment. And fourth, strengthening security and safety for the people and communities using benefit from the sea. Is it a protection that creates potential to people who carry out activities or have relation with the sea by preparation readiness for development of quality of life? And fifth, marine economy development. Give importance to economic development in marine sector based on the use of marine and coastal natural resources sustainably, including driving the economy maritime sector by connecting transportation routes to support activity that create economic value. And six, promoting cooperation between maritime countries. Focus on strengthening and expanding cooperation in carrying out the task according to international obligations with neighbor countries, the region, and the whole and the world community in various maritime security dimensions. And seventh, management of the maritime national interests of the state sector, creating potential to deal with the change in maritime security in order to raise ability both personnel and organizations, improving and amending laws and creating awareness of importance of the sea to the people. To conclude, nowadays, every country in the world give importance and try to compete for benefits from using natural resources, including marine resources such as minerals, natural gas, petroleum, fish, or even sea transportation routes. Moreover, in the time of rapid changing trends of the world in the area of globalization, combined with the unbalanced economic, social, and environment development, lead to using economic growth as the priority of national development. As a result, all countries, including Thailand, have more new types of threats which cover all dimensions of society, such as terrorism, illegal immigration, human trafficking, arms smuggling, piracy, trade of shipping, environmental problems, food security and energy security, etc. With the changing nature of maritime trade, which is becoming more complex day by day, government or related agency should give importance to the preparation of policy regarding management of maritime security in order to accommodate situations and environments that are constantly changing. Also need to improve law and regulations to be more modern and international. There should also be a main unit to manage all business to avoid confusion. Some agencies should work in a way of coordinating, unified, efficient and consistent with the current and future maritime security environment. Okay, that's all for today. Maybe if you have a question, maybe you can ask me later. Thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much for sharing us about the Thailand maritime securities policies. Hopefully, it could be a new insight for us to the discussion, as mentioned by Assistant Professor Onanong Tipimol, PhD from Thammasat University, Thailand. You can prepare your question after our speakers finish all the presentation. You even not using your 15 minutes, okay? And next, we go to Jakarta. No, I'm kidding. Please welcome Dr. Jafri Agus Salim from Gajah Mada University, Indonesia. With the maritime security and non-traditional security threats in Southeast Asia region.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jafri Agus Salim. I'm a lecturer at the Department of International Relations, Gajah Mada University, but originally, I'm Palembang people. All right, now I would like to also thank you very much, for the Umrah. In that case, our rector, deans, director of the study centers, and of course, the steering committee for this event. Thank you very much for inviting me, and it's such a important and also timely, issues to discuss at this opportunity. If you look at the titles of my presentation today, instead of discussing on the mainstream issues like, let's say, how ASEAN member countries negotiate or doing a kind of diplomacy activities and solving the problem of territorial dispute among the countries. But today I would like to focus on the new or what you call it, new issues, in the traditional, what's so-called the non-traditional security issues in ASEAN, which is for me is a very important one, and unfortunately for so long it seems to be lack of intentions, not only by the practitioners, decision maker, but also by the academician like us. So let me start, by reading my presentation slides. So the existence of security insurance in ASEAN countries' sea area, for me, is the key to ASEAN future. This argument is based on the fact how important the position of the sea area for ASEAN countries, as well as for the countries in the Asia-Pacific region. As we know, that the ASEAN countries cover more than 4.46 million kilometers square, which sea area is about 3 times larger than its land counterpart. Besides, it has rich natural resources such as fish stocks, natural gas reserves. The sea area of ASEAN, especially Strait of Malacca, is one of the most important shipping lines in the world. Energy security and trade between the economies in ASEAN and East Asia depend extensively on maritime security in the crucial passage of the Strait and South China Sea. For instance, the strait links the India and Pacific Ocean and carry approximately 25% of all oil that travel by sea. In addition, providing passage to commodities trade, the Asia land that links many countries in region, which is led to interdependence between the countries, especially between the ASEAN and the industrial countries like Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, China, and so on. More than 60% of Southeast ASEAN today live in or rely economic of the maritime area. So you can see there how important the sea area in ASEAN regions, looking at the size of the threat. So maritime security, non-traditional security threat. However, the sea also sort of that parity of dangers, not only manage the prosperity of local population by directly threaten the security of ASEAN member states. This danger include territorial dispute, non-state political violence, and so on. As we know that the last or the current hot issues, related to the conflict in South China Sea. But it's not the only problem of security, passing by most of the countries in region. Even aware or not aware, actually we're now facing a very, very serious problem in relation to the non-traditional security threat, Like, for examples, next, piracy, robbery, drug trafficking, smuggling of the migrant, human trafficking, money laundering, trafficking in firearms, counterfeit goods, wildlife and cultural property, illegal fishing, and many more. All right, so if you look, come on, next. I think next, the flow of, you see? Yeah, okay, next. You can see there, we have to recognize that the ASEAN region is become one of the, let's say, the main theaters, for the non-traditional security threats activities, right? Okay, next. So, what is the importance of the impact of the non-traditional security threat to the nation? Organized crime threatens peace and human security, violates human rights, and undermine economic, social, cultural, political, and civil development of society around the world. So, we recognize actually that the non-traditional security threat even more dangerous than the traditional security threat. Non-traditional threats, including, for example, have caused billion-dollar loss, million people died, injured, suffered, and disadvantaged every year in region. For instance, the use of drug and narcotics has caused murder, human trafficking, and people smuggling in many countries in region, especially in the countries like Indonesia. You read the newspaper, right? In the last, I think, weeks or months, yeah? Tons, a million tons maybe, I'm sorry, not million maybe, but at least 100 tons of drugs, flow to Indonesia, with impact negatively for millions of people. It threats of peace and human security, led to human rights being violated, undermine the economic, social, cultural, political, and civil development of society. And every year, countries' lives are lost as a result of organized crime in region. Drug-related health problems and violence, firearm deaths, and unscrupulous method and motive of human trafficking in migrant, all of them are the impact of non-traditional security threat. So in the future, these threats are expected will become more serious problem for many countries in region, especially Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, and maybe also Singapore. Yeah, this includes the phenomenon like piracy, robbery, drug smuggling, and so on. So we have also keep in mind that the non-traditional security threat actually global in nature. Yeah. Organized crime affect people in the developing and developed countries actually, not only to the countries like Indonesia. So given such a geostrategic, geographic, and position of the ASEAN, then there is no other space for ASEAN countries to avoid this kind of challenges, otherwise to facing that problem in such a way. While transnational organized crime is a global threat, it affects also locally. People like even the poorest peoples, in village, currently become the victim of this kind of drug trafficking, for example. So in many developed countries, criminal group traffic, women, sexual exploitation, and so on, also then, sometimes associated with this kind of non-traditional security threat that happen in the region, Indonesia, Cambodia, Laos, Philippines, and many other countries in region. So when organized crime takes root, it can destabilize countries and entire region, thereby undermining development assistance in those areas. Organized crime group can also work with local criminals, leading to an increase of corruption, racketeering, and violence. Added to this trade counterfeit product, with the deprive countries of tax revenues, and also have an important impact on the legitimate companies will agilely produce good display sales of original product, which in turn hurt employer revenue. So if we then, even such problem can disrupt political relations between countries in region. Increasing tension between countries in region as a result of non-traditional security issue, such as what happened, for example, in the case of punishment of Bali 9 in Bali, that sparked the tension between Indonesia and Australia, Brazil, and sometimes, with Malaysia as well, right? So increasing tension among countries in region as a result of non-traditional security issue will not only disrupt the relation between the countries, but also will harm ASEAN countries' interests as a whole. Yeah, so in that case, I think it is a must that the non-traditional security issue must become the common concerns of the countries in region, especially those countries who currently, especially, dealing with this kind of issue intensively. ASEAN countries should recognize that the securing their sea area is not one-man job. Due to the massive area of ocean encompassing many countries with shared boundaries, it's appear that it's more difficult for one single country to seek a solution alone. Therefore, cooperation is necessary and even is a must. This includes combating non-traditional security issues. ASEAN already have done a lot of things, actually, to fighting this kind of new security threat. For example, Indonesians have released a lot of, let's say, ASEAN political security community, which have a kind of blueprint, which is called for, among other countries, to establish what the ASEAN Maritime Forum, and many other. Even in the special issues, ASEAN also have restarted a kind of ASEAN drug-free joint statement in 2015, and ASEAN Plan of Action Against Trafficking in Person, especially women and children, or we call it APA, and ASEAN Declaration of Combating Trafficking in Person Caused by the Abuse of Technology, just a couple of weeks ago, months ago, I think, right, in Labuan Bajo by Jokowi, preventing TPPO. But unfortunately, in reality, this kind of effort is not being implemented maximally. As we know, even in the case of drug trafficking, for example, we know, especially Indonesia, instead of decrease of the number of the trafficking, but the fact is it seems to be increased from time to time. The last issues, like a pretty, what is her name? Pretty somebody, right? Yeah, case, involve the kind of international networks of the non-traditional security trade, So this is the last statement. Why that's happened? Yeah. Southeast Asia faces challenges in combating transnational crime due to domestic factors like corruption, vested interest, and resource scarcity. The link between domestic instability, poverty, and transnational crime not to be stressed. Southeast Asian countries are predominantly weak states, characterized by fragile domestic institutions and also socio-economic issues. Corruption as well as poorly financed law enforcement agencies have undermined domestic attempts to combat traditional organization crime. The property and economic disparities that persist in region also diminish ASEAN ability to tackle other forms of transnational crime, particularly the issue of human smuggling and trafficking. And this is the last statement. I hope this statement can spark your attention in discussion in the next session, that ASEAN failure of lack of success in overcoming non-traditional security threat from the sea, mostly caused by the poor maritime border governance or maritime security governance, which is, once again, which is linked to the, against, quote-unquote, egoism of the countries in region, which is stressing more on the national, I would like to say narrow nationalism something, right? Which is sometimes, like ASEAN principle, for example, non-interference, right? While the case actually, cover not only the area of that countries, but also impacts, negatively to other countries in region. The issue of TPPO, for example, human rights in the other countries, but one country cannot be helped to solve the problem due to the ASEAN principle, for example, which is reflects again egoism, of the countries in the region. So in the future, I would like to, quote-unquote, suggest that the countries in the region trying to, again, quote-unquote, not surrounding actually, but decrease its or reduce their egoism, like based on the state sovereignty, for example. Yeah, we have to redefine what does it mean by the state sovereignty. In case, in fact, actually, I think in the modern era, there is no any countries in the world which is have a kind of 100% of sovereignty in terms of law, for example, idea, the flow of other, and due to the globalization, the advancement of technology, and so on. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. I hope this presentation can spark our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for the comprehensive paper presentation. Hopefully you will note what Dr. Dhafri Agus Salim, MA, presented just now.
Right.
Last but not least, we still have one speaker to present his paper presentation from far away, because Indonesia is 4 hours in advance from Norway. It means now it's 11, right? Oh, yeah, now it's 11. So in Norway, time is 7, correctly? Are you here with us now?
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Zial
here. Hello,
Hakumunin,
everyone.
PhD? Yeah, all right. So please, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Zial Hakumunin, PhD, Associate Professor of Maritime Logistics, Faculty of Technology, Natural and Maritime Science from University of Southeastern Norway.
will be present maritime trade and border governance. Please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So this is our campus, as you can see. I will move to the next slide here. So today I'm going to talk about maritime trade and governance. I hope you can see my screen clearly. So my name is Yaul Haq Munim. I'm currently working as an associate professor of maritime logistics at the University of Southeastern Norway. I'm living close to Oslo in a small city called Horten. And I also have a e-learning platform called Research Hub, which some of you also might find useful. We publish a lot of tutorials on research methods. And before I proceed to the presentation, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me today to talk at this conference. So I have not done a lot of research about Indonesia or Southeast Asian countries, but I have done research about South Asian countries and European countries mainly. So I'm originally from Bangladesh. I did a lot of research about Bangladeshi ports and maritime, and then I'm living in Europe for 10 years or more. So I'm doing a lot of research about the European ports, particularly Norwegian ports and maritime. So I'm going to focus today quite a lot on the research I have done on the South Asian context from the Bangladeshi part. So I'm going to talk a bit about the maritime trade development in South Asian context, the case of Bangladesh, port governance models, port choice factors, logistics performance index, and some emerging topics. So these are the things that I have on my agenda today. And all of these I'm going to relate with some of my published research or my upcoming research. So first of all, since I tried to relate this presentation as much as I could do with the research I have done related to maritime borders, here you can see we have a map of Bangladesh in the world map. And here you can see that Bangladesh is actually surrounded by India on all of its land side, almost in all the sides. Okay, here at the bottom we have Myanmar, but rest of the parts on all these sides we have India, right? And here, so we can see the location of different ports. So the anchorage symbol here, this indicates ports. So here you see Chittagong is one of the largest port. Then we have another port here, Mongla port. We have another port under development here, and another port under development here. So Chittagong is the main port. There are two other small ports, and another port, deep sea port, is under development here in Cox's Bazar. You can also see the location of different land ports, which is represented by this symbol, like a train symbol, right? And you can also see the major cities here, right? Like Dhaka is around here, Chittagong here, and so on. So in Bangladesh, we have about 03 major ports, 23 inland ports or dry ports, and 22 river ports. Now, it's important to understand the port governance model of a country. A few years back, we published a book chapter. There was a book edited by some of the renowned professors in maritime logistics about the port governance and regulation all over the world. So there I published two chapters. One was about port governance in Bangladesh and another one about Norway. But here, if we look into the port governance models here, this framework is taken from the World Bank. World Bank has a classification of the port governance models. So the classification relies mainly on infrastructure, that is the land of the port mainly, and then superstructure, that's the equipments of the ports, and the labor, people working on the port, and other operations like stevedore and so on. So based on these, whether these four functions are public or private, based on that, we can have four governance models. Okay, so the first governance models is actually service port according to the World Bank, so where almost everything is public, which we see in this port in Bangladesh, in Mongla port, right? Then the second level is that infrastructure and superstructure is public, but then you have private labor. So, and also the private operations, other operations. So this is called tool port, right? And in the landlord port, we see only the infrastructure is public, rest of the activities are private. So that's the model. And the other model that we have is the private port, where everything is private. We don't see it in Bangladesh. We don't see it in most of the countries. Private ports we see only in the UK or in the Australia. So in other parts of the world, we don't see them much. So why am I presenting the port governance models? Because according to literature, we have found that the service port, where majority of the activities are done by public authorities or public companies, they are most of the time less efficient. The service quality and port efficiency is lower. Also in terms of environmental practices, they are lower. So increasing some degree of privatization within the port towards the landlord port improves the performance of a port. But then, on the other hand, I see from the Bangladeshi context, like Bangladesh is not really very much interested in the landlord port model. As you can see, they are running 2 ports in service, 1 port in service port model and 2 ports in 2 port model. So we see that they're not really very interested in having, especially the Chittagong port, moving towards the landlord port model, or almost no interest at all for privatization, which is great, because a port, one of the largest port of a country, it is supposed to facilitate the trade. And once you privatize too much, it might not be providing the service. It might increase the port charging, handling fees, and so on. So from that perspective, although it's kind of like protectionism attitude, but it is actually beneficial. Also in Bangladesh, we see that there are several port terminal handling operators from Singapore or Dubai who are interested to handle some of the terminals in the ports, but the port government, port authority, they do not welcome them. So that's also kind of the nationalism perspective we see in Bangladesh. But so here, we did another study where we looked into if this port governance model has an effect on the green port management practices. And actually in this study, we saw that we find that increasing privatization in port governance would enhance the implementation of green practice management. So actually, to some extent, privatization is good for the green port management practices as well. So I talked about these 3 ports and several inland ports and river ports. So how is the cargo handling share of these ports? So we see majority comes from Chittagong port, 73%, then 18 from all the inland ports, and then 1%, only 1% from the river ports, and 8% from the Mongla port. Chittagong is the largest one. If we see here, we see that Chittagong actually has about, this data is from 2017-18 latest. So here it was handling about 22.7 million containers. Okay. And we also see similar trend in cargo handling. And we see that increase has been very, very steady and kind of exponential too. So I was looking into the Lloyd's port rankings. Lloyd's, they do a port ranking every year, ranking of top 100 ports in the world. And I was looking into the ranking of Indonesian ports and also Bangladeshi ports. So here, I guess all of you know that Tanjung Priok is the largest port in Indonesia. So it comes in world ranking 26. Okay, it was actually the year before 22. So it fell down 4 ranks and it became 26. But here also we can see the ports that are above the Indonesian port on the ranking, like we see from Vietnam, we see Sri Lanka, we see also Morocco. And just after the Indonesian port, we see the port of Mundra from India, right? And we're also looking into the ranking of Bangladeshi ports. Here we see the largest port of Bangladesh, Chittagong, comes in 64. Okay, it comes quite late in the ranking, right? But so this ranking of the ports, this Lloyd's list, they mainly focus on the trade handling, how many containers were handled, right? So, well, they mainly look into that, but what are the other factors? that kind of influences this competitiveness of the port. So we see in the literature that maritime connectivity or geographic location of the port is one of the most important factors. Then facilities, efficiency, cost factor, policy and management, information systems, and green port management. This connectivity, in terms of geographic location, we cannot change it, right? But we can increase the connectivity with other countries. So that's something where the maritime border comes into the play. Okay, are we collaborating enough with the neighboring countries? Are we increasing our connectivity or not? And rest of the other things, it mainly depends on the port management, how they want to do it. When we were doing this study, there were no studies on green port management, so we published a study on green port management later, which I have already shown you, right? So here we did one study where we were looking to competition and collaboration between neighboring countries' port terminals for inland intermodal container transshipment. So this study is done with Professor Hercules Saralambidas. So here we are looking into again the Bangladeshi situation. So Bangladesh is connected with Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Singapore for the transshipment, trades. And here we see Nepal and Bhutan, these two are landlocked countries, and also there is a part of India in this corner, which is called Seven Sister of India, so which is far from the Indian ports in this area. Okay, so they are almost pseudo landlocked. So these three, Nepal, Bhutan, and the Seven Sister of India, so they are now doing trade with the Kolkata port. Okay, and for Nepal and Bhutan, this is often not so efficient. They could save a lot of time and cost by using the Bangladeshi ports, but India does not kind of allow them to do that. Or it's maybe not the right way of putting it, but because of geopolitical tension and political issues, it's not working. Although the regulations from the World Trade and overall the international regulations and about tariffs and trade, all those things allow this, but it's not happening in practice. So in this paper, what we did is we were trying to do optimization model to see if instead of using Kolkata port, Nepal, Bhutan, and the Seven Sister of India starts to use Chittagong or Mongla port, then if it will be beneficial or not. So actually we found that it will be beneficial, but over time Kolkata port will lose its market share. So there should be an incentive mechanism. So most likely one idea could be that the increasing volume and increasing profit from Chittagong and Mongla port could be shared with Kolkata port to facilitate this kind of agreement. So something like that. We did another study where we looked into if port infrastructure quality affects logistics performance of a country, and if this port infrastructure quality and logistics performance affects seaborne trade of a country, and the trade affects national economy of a country. So here you see the QPI. This is the port quality infrastructure, and the logistics performance has 6 components here, so I'm not going to the details here. Okay. And the trade mainly has container volume and shipping, liner shipping connectivity index, and national economy comes from GDP per capita. So here what we saw is that quality of port infrastructure have a significant and very strong effect on logistics performance, and that logistics performance has a strong effect on the national economy. Okay, but here then what we did is we wanted to see if these estimates differ for developing and developed countries. Okay, so we see all the estimates, but one of the things that I wanted to mention is this one here. When we look into trade effect on national economy, for developed countries, we see that it's not significant, but for the developing countries, we see that it's more significant. So the lesser, what the storyline here is that the lesser developed a country is, the more significant the trade for that country, because the more developed the countries are, they become more service focused, right? They still need ports and so on, but for developing countries, it becomes more relevant. So as you see that we see that logistics performance is one of the key indicator of seaborne trade, and seaborne trades can then affect the economic development of a country. So here I presented the logistics performance index of Bangladesh and Indonesia. We see Bangladesh has in the recent years has like about 2.58 in this index. Indonesia has 3.15 in this index, which looks pretty good and logically makes sense. Indonesia is more developed than Bangladesh. It has some slightly higher. Excellent. But then I try to put this logistics performance index with other countries like Austria and Switzerland. Why did I do that? Austria and Switzerland, these two are landlocked countries, right? They don't have any port. Indonesia, Bangladesh, they have port, but still these countries have kind of about 1 point higher than Indonesia, or 2 point higher than Bangladesh, right? So these countries are the landlocked countries, but still they are performing very well in the logistics performance index. Of course, logistics performance index is not only about the maritime trade. It includes also like how well they can track, how well are the infrastructures, and so on, right? But I feel like here there's good room for improvement for Bangladeshi and Indian transport systems and logistics companies. Here, finally, I have this one slide where we kind of map the countries with fewer number of ports. Like here, you see countries like Albania, Bangladesh, Georgia has only 4 ports. Then there are countries with Pakistan, Jordan, Kuwait, and so on. They have 3 ports, and countries like Lebanon, Malta have 2, and then countries with 1 port only. So why I'm presenting this? Because these countries often they are not having a very good connection with the overall global trade network. So it is possible to improve their trade network, particularly the ones with 1 or 2 ports only, in terms of further collaboration with the large maritime nations around them. The final point is some emerging topics in the trade and development. So I have been doing a lot of research recently about autonomous shipping development. One of the reasons is that the 2 largest autonomous shipping projects in the world are actually from the place where I'm living now. So it's from this southeastern part of Norway. So what are the reasons for doing this autonomous shipping development? First reason is cost reduction. Here we see the breakdown of cost of shipping. So we see 5 categories. This is taken from the most famous book of Martin Stamford. We see 40% of the cost goes to voyage cost. So if we can reduce this voyage cost through autonomy, that could increase profitability. Increasing safety. This is for accident figures from Japan. We see that over time, the number of accidents were going down, as you can see in 2010, about 1,200 to about 727 on 2021. Okay, so it was going down. 22 is not full year, so I will ignore that. So we can say that with increasing technology and so on, safety is increasing. And finally, last point is lack of seafarers. So here you see this technological development is happening in the developed part of the world, like Netherlands, Belgium, Norway, and so on. But the seafarers in the world are coming mainly from China, Philippines, Indonesia, Russian Federation, and Ukraine. But these autonomous ships are not used in these countries. They are used in the developed part of the world, right? So one of the questions from here is that, these development of autonomous ship, are these going to increase imbalance in the seafarers and in the trade, or are they going to facilitate? Also, how will the effect be in the developing countries? Will we need,
Excuse
will there
me,
be a
Mr.
sharp
Zial
decrease?
Hakuminim?
Yeah.
Pardon me, your time is
No
up.
problem.
Can you go forward to the conclusion, please?
Yeah, I am done here. So that was the main idea here. Like, so if these developments are going to facilitate or hinder the further developments of trade between countries. And I'm on the editorial board of these 2 journals, Maritime Economics and Logistics and the Asian Journal of Shipping and Logistics. So if you have some studies focused on the Asian context or in the Indonesian context about the maritime border, we would be happy to receive papers in the journals. Thank you so much. And here is a QR code. You can scan it to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and for your comprehensive presentation. Mr. Zial Hakmunim, PhD from University of Southeastern Norway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all the participate here. Now we start the Q&A session, the question and ask. Please, if you have any question that you haven't prepared, you can ask to one of our speakers. Don't forget to mention where are you come from, about your study background, and then your question. A very short and clear question, please. We have a limited time. Okay, we have a one questioner here. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Perkenalkan, nama saya Lukman Syafnitra dari Prodi Ilmu Administrasi Negara.
Universitas?
Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji.
Okay. Question is?
Yang saya hormati para pembicara, izin bertanya. As we know, several ASEAN countries are experiencing 9-line maritime border conflict with China. So, what advice can you give so that ASEAN countries that have border conflict can resolve this problem? Does it have to go dirt war or peace negotiation? How long do we have to face this unresolved problem? Terima kasih.
Mau dijawab oleh siapa? Do you have any specific speakers that you want to answer your question? Ada mau dijawab oleh siapa atau random aja?
Random.
Okay. Dr. Dafri Agus Salim, MA, you want to answer this question? Is it the question enough for you? Clear enough? Okay.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's one of the hot issues, in region, even not only in the South Asia region, but also in the Indo-Pacific, even the world, right? As I said before, due to the strategic position of the South China Seas, from the economic, political and security perspective. So if you ask me, what the ASEAN had to do, to solve the problems, there are a lot of answer of the question. And ASEAN already, have been doing a lot of things, to solve the problem. But unfortunately, so far, that kind of efforts are not really effective yet. For example, ASEAN tried to, let's say, introduce what's so-called the Code of Conduct. Have you heard about that? Code of Conduct, a kind of principles of introduced by ASEAN, to manage the activities, and policies of the countries involved in this kind of conflict in the South China Sea. But it doesn't work so far because still, under the discussion, the second reading, I'm not mistaken. And also, you have to look in the a lot of the news on that kind of issues, which is the fact is the ASEAN member countries themselves have not a kind of single position on policy in that kind of issue. Like Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, all right, maybe. But what about Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and so on, right? Even the problem is, ASEAN member countries themselves, they are kind of, what I said, they are not in the well situation now. Tidak baik-baik saja, ya. They got a problem like a pragmatic, for example. In the case of